I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, June the 14th, brought to you in part by VitaFerm, by Biozyme, out there in South St. Joe Mo. Keep them grazing and keep them bred. The summer grazing period comes with stressors that can affect performance and impact reproduction success. Use VitaFerm Heat to stave those off. For more information, go to VitaFerm.com. Indeed, talking about the heat took its toll over the weekend. And first stories we got Monday opening up, of course, with the board down hard, but we started hearing stories about thousands of dead cattle in southwest Kansas feedlots. Not hundreds, but thousands of them. There were hundreds in individual feedlots, thousands of them when you add them all up. And, you know, and there's countless individuals that suffered, cattle out there that didn't die. And you think, well, why did it happen right there in southwest Kansas? Well, it was really hot over the weekend in the southern plains. Around Amarillo area here in the Texas Panhandle, it was super hot. But luckily, we had our traditional 30 to 40 mile an hour wind along with the 108-degree heat. Didn't see any deaths to speak of, not any out of the ordinary in Texas Panhandle feedlots, but up in southwest Kansas, the wind didn't blow. And when you've got heat like that and the wind, you don't have much of a breeze, it's a killer. And so that was what happened there. And it was a pretty tough deal there, but I saw some videos, I'm sure some of you guys saw them too, of just hundreds and hundreds of dead cattle piled up out there. It's sad to see. And a lot of those cattle suffering in that heat. And cattle that are market ready, that are on the show list, just out there melting. And that is going to take the weights down on those cattle too. But you see them, cattle traders, surely they heard those stories. They hear all those rumors. They can read about it in their text messages and different spies they got around doing that. But they were more worried about the stock market dropping, which it dropped 876 points on Monday. And they decided to take the cattle down with it. I'm not even sure if most of those guys in Chicago that are trading the cattle understand that whenever you have a shitload of dead cattle in your feedlots, and it's going to be those cattle that are soon to be harvested, that should be a positive for the market, because we're already in really tight supplies. We're already, our show lists are really green. They're not just current. They're green, especially in the northern plains. That is a positive for the market. But they were just taking everything down on Monday. Wouldn't be surprised at all to see it bounce back on Tuesday, because now we're sitting with June spot live cattle futures at 134, which is a $6, more than $6 discount to your weighted average, 5-area weighted average cash. $6 in the very center of the spot June month right here, guys. You know, and I keep saying it on here, guys, and I know most of you guys that hedge and you like a soft board whenever you get into the contract month. Yeah, it's okay for that, but it sure keeps us from ever achieving any kind of market position if we can't keep those two lined up. Now, if your board's trading at a premium to cash, it will always back down because people will deliver on there. They need to make it easier for long hedgers, which we really don't have any long hedgers. In a perfect world, your packers would be long hedging, which would offset your cattle feeders short hedging and make things kind of balance out. But your big corporate feeders and a lot of the other feeders too are more than happy to enter into these long-term agreements where your packers don't have to long hedge. They already know what cattle they got coming, and they mow for a big part of what they're going to cost them. So they don't have to worry about buying cattle in an up market, because they're going to keep the market under pressure all the time, and they know they've already got their hands on the supplies that they need. But that's a tough deal. But the good thing is, as far as up through 2 o'clock, whenever we see the information come into USDA, there still were basically no basis jumpers on Monday. So thank goodness, even though they saw that $6 basis there, everybody kind of held back because they know that we got a right to gain more ground this week. So, and maybe $2 or $3 this week. I tell you what, the way they pulled those covers back and showed us last week how short bought they are, how current our show lists are, and how green they are up in the northern plains, and how few top grading cattle that we have out there. We've got a right to gain ground here, but guys just have to resist the basis jumping. It's better for the industry if we can gain a couple bucks on the market and take a couple bucks less on your basis, guys, rather than jump here early in the week. But packers were out there looking for cattle on Monday. Guys just weren't too excited as they were dragging out deads from the heat. But talk about some other things that we have. Got a message from Justin Tupper, my buddy there from St. Anne, South Dakota, who is currently the vice president of U.S. Cattlemen's Association. They're having a fly-in event in D.C. He said a lot of good vibes on the Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act. They met with Secretary Vilsack. You can see right here, you got Mr. and Mrs. Justin Tupper. You got Brad Cotton from Independent Cattlemen's Association of Texas, who I'm going down to give a presentation to next week. You also had Mr. and Mrs. Brooke Miller, president of U.S. Cattlemen's Association there in Secretary Vilsack's office, and he just said good vibes about the bill. Shoe in the Senate. We're hearing good things in the House, and said it was very positive. And he wouldn't be lying about that either, because Justin doesn't really sugarcoat anything. So him saying that there's good vibes about the bill out there makes me really excited about it. So that's great to hear. Let's talk about your board to open the week. June live cattle futures down $2.20, resting at 134 at the end of trading. August down 232 at 133.87. Talk about your back months on your live cattle, down 152 to down 2 1/4. August feeder cattle down 315 on Monday, ending regular trading at 171.32. Of course, that's all you have on cattle's regular trading. September down 245 at 173.60. Back months on feeder cattle down $1.15 to down 222. Corn, now they're the ones that have after hours trading, the grains. Corn down 4 cents is all, but it didn't help your feeder cattle any. But I'm thinking it's going to bounce them back. They got to come back here, guys. Corn down 4 cents, ending regular trading at 769 1/4. Beans down 38, 1707 1/2. Kansas City hard red winter wheat down just 3/4 cent. And I was figuring they were going to give up trading in quarter cents, the way that hard red winter wheat has been bouncing back and forth in $10, $20, $30, $40, $50, $60 increments, but down just 3/4 cent on Monday, 11.61 3/4. Weighted average on last week's negotiated direct fed cattle trade in your 5-area feeding region. Total head counts negotiated 74,300 head, compares with 70,700 last week, and not quite 84,000 the same week a year ago. Your live sales in steers and heifers for all week last week, a $10 range. Wow. And, used to it would be maybe $1 or $2. $10 range in your 5-area feeding region from 135 to 145. That's $1 to $2 higher. Your weighted average on live steers in the 5-area was 140.14, up 207 for the week. Dress sales, steers and heifers last week in your 5-area feeding region from 222 to 230. That's $4 to $8 higher, the way they had the spread there. But they had some really cheap 214 last week in your spread, but still your weighted average on dress steers 226.03, up 414 for the week. Nationwide negotiated sales 88,200 head, pretty decent movement nationwide negotiated, and only 17.5% of those for the 2 to 4 week delivery. They've already ran through all their 2 to 4 week delivery cattle that they bought the last several weeks. They didn't buy very many last week, didn't buy very many the week before. They are going to be short bought and hungry, guys. Here's your opportunity to make hay, because they've tipped their hand on how short they are and how bad they need the cattle. But 88,200 negotiated nationwide. Negotiated grid 44,500. Forward contract 17,700, and formula sales 271,400 head last week. Box beef cutout values. Choice cuts on Monday down 78 cents at 270.54. Selects down 144 at 247.45. Talk about what else is going on. Beaver County Stockyards Tuesday sale. They're going to have kind of a yearling special there. They've got 15 loads of 9-weight yearling steers weighing all the way up to about 1,000 pounds or maybe a tick over there. They are going to be green, gant, empty, and probably thin. Jeff Slatton told me that several of them are coming off very short graze out wheat there in the local area, and I can't believe they even had any there. And the rest of them are going to be coming off grass. So if you guys want some really green 9-weight yearling steers, tune in to Beaver County Stockyards on dvauction.com. Call them ahead of time, tell them you're interested in bidding online where you can get in on those cattle because they're kind of hard to find. You say your inputs are high and you need to save some money somewhere in your cattle enterprise. Where's the main way that you can save? If you're backgrounded, it's when you buy them. Let's check in with Ellison Carter Cattle Company there. My old buddy there that he's got around 50 order buyers working those sales from central Texas all the way up to southern Oklahoma and shipping those cattle every week. He shares with me every few weeks, kind of what his shipping was. These are the cattle that he shipped out on Sunday. And he was busy doing some other stuff. I didn't get those until Monday, but these were Sunday shipments. These are delivered prices to the Texas Panhandle and up into Oklahoma. But you listen to some of these prices, and you might start licking your lips a little bit if you've got some grass to turn out, you've got some silage to feed, some way to put pounds on cattle. Steers and bulls there. These are loads of cattle, delivered prices. 275 pounders at 195, 360 pound steers and bulls at 192, said those would be pretty fancy. 430 pound steers and bulls at $180 delivered, pretty good fancy kind there. 560 pounders, a little on the plain side at 148 and a quarter delivered. 620 pound feeder steers there, 156 and a quarter, be all steers, pretty good kind. 775 pounders at 150 and a quarter, all steers. On the heifer side, several quotes there. These would be loads delivered to the Texas Panhandle or western Oklahoma. 280 pound heifers, 178 and a quarter. 355 pound heifer calves at 166 and a quarter. 475 pounder, pretty fancy at 160 and a half. 485 pounders on the plain side at 146 and a half. I think I said that right. The 475s fancy at 160 and a half. The plainer 485s at 146 and a half. 500 pound fancy heifers at 154. 580 pound really fancy heifers at 154. 590 pound plainer heifers at 140. 670 pound fancy heifers at 150. And 920 pound big yearling feeder heifers at 122.75. Told me put a jag of young wet bag cows together. They would be 3 colored, solid colored, but 3 colored cows. 30 to 40% of them bred. Be carrying a quarter ear or less, giving you all that. Average weight on them was 845 pounds with an average price just under $700 per head, guys. That might kind of work. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV Auction. Late in the day on Monday, sitting at 161.24, down 22 cents, down for the first time on a daily RTI all the way back to June the 2nd. Talk about your big high volume sales on Monday. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma National Stockyards, 8,300 head there. Feeders there steady to $3 higher. Steer calves were unevenly steady. Heifer calves $3 to $5 higher. They had a whale of a sale last week, guys, so that's really impressive that they were able to gain ground on last week's market, and they got really good market reporters there, so you can trust that trend. That's impressive that they could gain more ground than they did last week. It was smoking hot last week. It's getting hot over there. It's drying out a little bit, and they are getting underway with wheat harvest. Not seeing any wheat harvest in the Texas Panhandle because we never had any wheat to speak of. But looking forward to seeing that. Going to be flying low, headed up to Ogallala, Nebraska on Tuesday here. So hopefully get to see some wheat harvest underway as I go up through that part of the country there. And going to be giving a presentation here on Tuesday night. Tonight, guys, if you're looking at this on real time, going to be at speaking for the local affiliate of Nebraska Cattlemen's Association in Ogallala, Nebraska, starting I think at 6 o'clock Mountain Time. Talk about a big quote out of Oklahoma City. National Livestock sold 163 head of 954-pound feeder steers at 159 a quarter. How about Joplin Regional Stockyards, 5,500 head there. Didn't have quite the buying power, and they weren't quite as after them as they were last week when they had that hot sale like everybody else did. But feeder steers in Joplin on Monday steady to $3 lower. Steer calves $7 to $12 lower. Heifer calves $6 to $11 lower. Heat is getting oppressive in southwest Missouri there. Humidity up high. They've had a lot of moisture up in that area, and whenever it does get hot, it's hard to take a breath, guys. But talk about an impressive quote out of Joplin. There was no blood coming out of the ring, that's for sure. 56 head of steers weighed $756 in Joplin at $166. Some individual quotes. How about Bluegrass Stockyards South, Stanford, Kentucky on Monday. 58 head, 883-pound steers standing in the ring. Stanford, Kentucky at $154.90. How about Russell Livestock Market, Russell, Iowa. First sale they've had since their big Memorial Day special, but 51 head, 601-pound steer calves bring $194 in Russell, Iowa. But the best quote that I saw anywhere on Monday, and your National Beef Wire top quote for the day, was out of Aberdeen, South Dakota, and Aberdeen Livestock Sales. They were eating pie there at Kevin Larson's barn. 69 head of steers weighed 774 at $185.50. That's your feeder flash for Tuesday.